All right, we are back on Steel City. I'm your host, Andre Duke, just checking things out to see how everybody's doing out there. If you're new to the program, I'm sorry I was going to go live this morning about the about the Bears and their complete meltdown last night, but wasn't able to do that. Just some of the other things on this side of the docket. We are going to open the phone lines. The number is on the ticker at the bottom. That is something that we are planning on doing. I'll leave that open for a little while to see what we get rolling on that. Just some of that, retweeting some links here. So yeah, some of the other things that have happened today. I believe the Steelers have signed Jabril Peppers. Just one of those things for safety depth. I find that very interesting, to say the least. But we do have I am looking at some stuff here, but yeah, that's pretty much where we are at there. But yeah, the signing of Peppers, some other things going on, I find that very interesting, to say the least. Why is it not letting me do that? There we go. That's what I want. NFL, but yeah, that's what we got going so far. Trying to get some things pulled up here. The internet is working slow, so hopefully everybody can see and hear me out there. But yeah, I was shocked that Tomlin even addressed the Roman Wilson thing. Although, I mean, it's shocking that they even asked the question. Excuse me. To be honest, that is something that I am shocked about, that they even asked the question. But yeah, that's pretty much where we're at. I'm trying to find the direct quote / article where Tomlin talks about the Roman Wilson stuff, and it's kind of like I'm coming up with nothing burgers. Here's this. But basically, it's got basically what the quote says is Tomlin. It was on Steeler Nation. Here we go. Okay. As I'm getting this up, the Steelers drafted wide receiver Roman Wilson in the third round, blah, 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 blah. In 2025, pundits believe Wilson would be ready to carve out a significant role in the pass game. But however, in week 1, Wilson, blah, 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 blah. When Steelers head coach Tomlin met with the media on Tuesday, blah, 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 blah. The young wide receivers, lack of this, but Tomlin basically states lack of possession of the football An agenda relevant to that day, Tomlin told the Pittsburgh media on Tuesday. As I mentioned after the game, I had no intentions of explaining the minute rep distribution week in, week out. Well, I don't really know. Here's the deal on the Roman Wilson stuff. I don't really know that you can complain too much about Rome Wilson not playing or playing. They won, and the other thing is that they really have two tight ends that can play. So Jonnu Smith, Freiermuth are gonna. Arthur Smith likes the two tight end set, so it takes a receiver off the field, and you're not taking DK off to put Roman Wilson on. Period. It's just what it is. I just don't understand what people don't under. I don't get what they don't understand about that. I mean, I can try to find the snap counts, but see if they'll have that. Although I don't really care about the PFF grades, but so Wilson, just show me the straight snap counts. Jeez. That's not what I'm wanting. But yeah, for the most part, Rome didn't play very much. And oh, this is just, who would have thought that getting this number would be okay? So Broderick Jones and the offensive line. So DK was on the field 95% of the time. Calvin Austin, Jonnu Smith, Gainwell, Roman Wilson, and Ben Skoranek got the same amount of snaps, and Scotty Miller. So this is what this tells me by just looking at the snap count and the rotation, that three guys that kind of do the same thing are going to get. They're going to get. I think there's a position battle that Tomlin hasn't thrown out there yet that no one wants to talk about. That's what I think is going on. There's a position battle happening that's been brought into the camp, that's been brought into the regular season, that for all intents and purposes, that has a lot of bearing going forward, and down the stretch you'll have to see how the snap counts differ going forward. But the Roman Wilson stuff is, I don't think, I mean, Connor Hayward only played 6 less snaps than they did. So you have 3 receivers. Jonnu Smith, that was the whole thing on why they traded for him. Calvin Austin, DK Metcalf, Jonnu Smith, and Freiermuth are going to be your top receiving options in the offense. I don't think a lot of the Steeler folks want to hear that, but that's also what it is. And then also, I will leave this open for a little bit, but the phone line is open. If you want to call, get your calls in. 260-255-4069 is the number to call. So there's that. But the offensive snap counts is, the offensive line and Aaron Rodgers played almost every. DK never came out the field. Calvin Austin barely. So there's that. Let me see what the defensive snap counts look like. I don't know if if that's what it is. Where are... All right, here's the defensive snap counts. Ramsey, Patrick Queen, and Slay played 100% of the plays. Highsmith, Wilson, Watt, 88%. Juan Thornhill, Joey Porter Jr. had to monitor what that injury is. Jack Sawyer got in for 23. He ended up with 15 plays, so it'll be interesting to see. Black, the rookie, ended up with 24%, and I think that Cam played a little bit more than he should have, because I think he was huffing and puffing at the end there. Just checking some other stuff here. But yeah, if you're watching on X and you want to get your call in about the Steelers snap counts, go ahead and do that now. The number is 260-255-4069 if you want to dive in on that. But I don't think that where we're at is the be-all, end-all, because I think Derek Harmon's going to eat up a lot of snaps along the defensive line. I think he's a.k.a. Cam Hayward's replacement. I know some people won't like to hear that, but that's just what it is. That's why they drafted him. Because I would say this is Cam's last hurrah. I don't see how it's not. Some people will probably vehemently disagree or want to argue about it, but it's what it is. It's not. It's just not going to be conducive for the behavior going forward. That's just my opinion. So, but yeah, that's just kind of where I'm at on it. If just doing some retweeting here. So there is that. Getting that done. But yeah, I look at the snap counts and think, well, I don't necessarily read a whole bunch into that because that's just what it is. But also I think that moving forward, I think the defense has to get better. I think they have to be drastically improved for that. If I can get that called up just by looking at some of the numbers, we'll go over a little bit more of that in depth, and then halfway through we'll talk about Seattle, and if the phone lines still stay dormant, we'll roll up shop for the day. Team stats is what I wanted. So the Jets almost had a 9-minute advantage on time of possession. I think that's pretty key on their part of it. But I think the Steelers got it's hard to say they got to do a better job in the run game, because you also have to remember they have Justin Fields that they're chasing after out there on the perimeter as well. So there's that. I think Justin Fields adds a whole different dynamic to a lot of the offenses. And I don't think Sam Darnold and Justin Fields are not the same player. So I think that the Steelers defense should be able to settle down going forward. I don't think it'll be so out of hand that it was what it was. But also they had I think the Jalen Carter stuff was, I thought I had that up. So the NFL is suspending NFL defensive tackle Jalen Carter. They're fining him $57,222 for spitting on Dak Prescott. The league also says that he was ejected for will serve as a 1-game suspension. Carter will play Sunday versus the Chiefs. After talking to the Eagles and the NFLPA has decided not to appeal and focus on the game against the Chiefs. Carter's agent, Drew Rosenhaus, said. Okay, where we're at on the Drew Rosenhaus stuff is it's one of those deals that you're going to have to look at this for what it is. The reason why they're not going to appeal it is because then it would force the league to say, okay, we're going to have to suspend this guy even more than what we are doing. That is kind of my feeling on it. I think that that's why they did that. They didn't want to do anything. I think the fine and him spitting on Dak Prescott and him getting ejected, I think the officials actually did him a favor by doing that, by kicking him out of the game. I don't think that it was anything of consequence, and some people will get mad that I say this. I mean, when you do stupid things like that, when you do stupid stuff, you have to expect a consequence. And also for Rosenhaus, it's not anything for him to try to appeal the fine, because the NFL could say, okay, well, we'll waive the fine. We'll just suspend you another game. And then that's bad for Drew Rosenhaus and his client because they wouldn't get paid, depending on if the suspension was paid or not. So it's not good to try to take your client out of service because of a game check is very expensive. So I think that they did him a favor by just fining him and calling that a 1-game suspension, because it really even happened before there was 4 seconds off the game clock when it happened. And whether Dak Prescott spit first or whatever, you can die on that hill all you want. But at the end of the day, they got the guy who they got. And that's what it is. There's nothing, there's no hiding it. So he got fined. That's what it is. Could the league go back and say, well, Dak Prescott, we're going to fine you too? For what? I mean, it looks like he spit, but is there as much clear evidence out there of that than what it is? They show Jalen Carter hawking loogie. Also, side note, what do we have in the South Florida game this weekend? Somebody's spitting on somebody. Why are we doing this? Did we watch Thursday Night Football, or are you just that dumb that you don't think the officials and the cameras are not going to catch it? I just very bizarre behavior coming out of the football land right now. And also spitting on people is absolutely disgusting, and you deserve everything you get for that. But if Dak Prescott spit on Jalen Carter, I haven't seen the angle, but I really don't care enough about it. That's just me though. I'm not an Eagles. I don't follow the Eagles that close. That's just what it is. But we'll leave the phone lines open for a little bit longer. The number to call is 255-4069, 4069 if you want to get your calls in today. That is what we're doing. We'll talk about Seattle a little bit. Let me get this. There it is. Try to see if there is a injury report up. I would say they have a couple of guys questionable. Oh wow, they've already upgraded Derek Harmon to out. He's already been updated to September 21st. So Derek Harmon's not going to play next week. I would be shocked if he does. I think the MCL might be a slight tear. I think it's probably a little bit more severe than they want to admit. So there is that. So I think we are trending down the direction of we're at the point of no return. So there's that. With the Harmon stuff. Just looking at some things here, I think that's what it is. For the most part, I think depending on what we got here, if you want to call now. 1-260-255-4069. I'm gonna leave it open for another 8 minutes. So if you don't call by then, you're gonna have to cork it until tomorrow. Also, in a local note, they had some kids pass out at high school football practice over the summer. They had 11 kids hospitalized. I think a coach is in trouble. There is a law firm out of Indianapolis investigating that currently. That's what's on the local news. Yeah, I think they're in trouble for being DAs. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Also, if you could do us a big favor and hit that like and subscribe button, that helps us pretty much more than anything. Hitting the like and subscribe. That's about that. Hitting the like and subscribe is better than money. I think that we'll have to see what the injury reports look like closer to the end of the week for Steelers, Seahawks. It's Tuesday. It's really not as clear as mud. I think that for the most part going forward, they just are at the point to where it's NFL time and we'll just let you know. That's kind of what I think. Just checking some other stuff. There's nothing really going on with the Steelers, really. Outside of the Harmon injury, allegedly, I guess they signed Jabril Peppers. I can't find that on ESPN.com anywhere, but I guess we'll go to roster transactions or depth chart. Oh, yeah, I forgot Will Howard's on IR. Yeah, Jabril Peppers signed him. So that is done. Done deal. So, yeah. The Steelers have Jabril, and that's that on the because on the depth chart here, this is really going to piss a lot of people off. On the depth chart, they have the Steelers base offense with a 3-by-1, 3 receivers, 1 tight end, and I'm just telling you, they're going to start 2 tight ends. They're going to start in 22 personnel because they're going to try to run the ball a lot more. That's just kind of what it's going to be. And, some people may disagree on that, but I really don't care. But look at the snap counts. The snap counts will tell you everything. Not everything, but they'll tell you who's playing and who ain't. That's just pretty much where we're at right there. Yep. So, but yeah, I think we'll be back with Steel City tomorrow. Maybe we'll have something interesting to talk about outside of the Roman Wilson debate that happens kind of constantly that I see on Twitter a ton. Do I think that Roman Wilson should play more? If he's going to be productive, then yeah. But what is more of a productive? What's more productive? Jonnu Smith or Roman Wilson right now? I mean, Jonnu Smith is a proven veteran. So I don't. They both do two dynamic different things, in my opinion. But just some other news and notes around the league. We'll do that really quick. Get that punched up. See what we're doing here. The Niners sign a kicker. The Broncos announce they've signed Deuce Vaughn to the practice squad. This is a snail day in the NFL. Holy cow. So this Adam Schefter tweeted this. It says the Walton ownership group is privately funding the Broncos' entire new stadium project. The last 9 stadiums to be built that are in advanced stages of construction utilize $6.5 billion in public funding, an average of 726 million per city. You want to talk about some cheese? That is cheese, my friends. That is cheese. It don't get much bigger than that. That's a problem for the NFL. That's a major problem. We'll go into that tomorrow because I want to do some more digging on that. But kudos to them. Kudos to them, though, for putting their money where their mouth is. They bought the team. Now they're building a new stadium. That's unbelievable. I mean, it is the Walmart people. They should have enough money to do that. But I think they wanted to keep the Broncos in Denver because it's advantageous. They're about to have a winner. I think Sean Payton's going to win big in Denver. I'll go on this tangent for a minute, but I think Sean Payton's going to win big in Denver. And I think it's going to be a very interesting endeavor because what's really going to hurt, or it's really going to help them, is that they're setting a precedent for other owners in the league. That is what they're really doing, is setting a precedent for other owners in the NFL. Because the Waltons will say, we can build our stadium. What about you? We don't have to take taxpayer money to do it. We have our own money. Because I think it puts a lot of stress on some ownership groups in the NFL. Instead of asking the public to fund it, they are this is getting hairier by the minute. So, but I guess we'll leave it there. I'm going to do some digging into that stadium project and see what the lease rights are on it. Because the other thing too is that they build their own stadium. If they hold other events there, they keep all the money. Just a FYI. Because Chris Brown concert. Yeah, we'll do that. That is something to be said there. I am looking at that. I think that is advantageous. But what do I know? I don't know anything. I am pretty much a mere nobody. But I guess we'll wrap it there. It is what it is. So there is that. We will talk to you tomorrow. If you are seeing this, hit the like and subscribe button. Help us grow this thing. And we will keep her rolling. So there is that. All right, Steeler Nation, have a good one.